this film is being billed as the kind of worst in the MCU universe. It's certainly the shortest of all the Marvel films, but I was excited to see it, so let's see what I thought. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel every week, and then movie reviews like this one here at the weekend. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but I was away and then I wasn't seeing anything new, and then I fell asleep during a movie, so I don't feel like I could review that one. Yeah, so this one is a spoiler-free movie review of The Marvels. I will leave a playlist of my recent reviews linked up above, in case you are looking for something to watch this weekend at home, because let's face it, all my recent movie reviews are already not on at the cinema anymore. So yes, it is being billed as like the worst. People are just not happy with it, and it seems like it's set to lose a lot of money, which some people are blaming on the fact that, you know, stars couldn't promote it because of the actors' strike, but other movies seem to do okay with that. But I mean, overall, I had a fairly good time. Like, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed sort of what it had to say. I watched the Miss Marvel series leading up to this, so I'd be sort of in the know and in the zone. And I went to see Captain Marvel, I think 2 or 3 times when it came out in 2019. I liked the part that she played in Endgame, and sort of the links with her in other sort of MCU movies since then. Now, a lot of people are saying that this one was sort of very disjointed. It was like they'd like cut bits together and then like put them all back together in one film, which I definitely do agree with. There were points in the film where I was like, you're alluding to something that's happened. Did I like miss a step? Was it one of the shows that I haven't watched yet that this happened in? But having watched a few other people's reviews, some things that happen almost like allude to something having taken place in another movie, but it's not a movie that actually exists. It's just flashbacks to make the plot make a little bit more sense. Now, again, I don't know the reason why it feels this way of being like disjointed, but a lot of people have picked up on it. But you just kind of have to concentrate a little bit more. It's a bit like some of the earlier MCU movies where they're introducing new characters, and you do have to concentrate to find out, right, okay, so who are they, why are they the way that they are, and what are their powers. It was a little bit like that, and so sometimes it was like, oh wait, how did she get to be like this again? But overall, I mean, I'm generally here for a film that is about like 3 female superheroes coming together to kind of save something, even if I wasn't sure what that something was. I also thought that the humour in this film was definitely up there. I feel like I laughed more at this one than I did at Thor Love and Thunder, which normally I would laugh a lot more at a Thor film than I would specifically at a Captain Marvel film or a Marvel film. But I think because we had the character of Kamala Khan being there with Monica Rambeau and Carol Danvers, she provided a lot of comic relief, and so there were definitely points where I laughed out loud. But the sort of box office figures are definitely reflected in the fact that I had an entire row, and we're not talking like just my section of the cinema, but like the section and then the aisle and then my section and then the aisle and then the next section. I had that entire row to myself. There was 2 people in the row behind me. There was nobody in that left-hand section at all to the left of me. I don't think there was anybody in the right-hand section at all to the right of me. And Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, or the Madness of Multiverse, or whatever it was called, I was sat next to someone, like directly next to someone. And so the fact that this was opening weekend, this was the first showing on Saturday in the Imax cinema, and there was about 6 of us in there. So it was quite self-conscious making laughing out loud, but I did definitely laugh out loud, and I laughed out loud at multiple points. But coming back to the film being a little bit disjointed, I can't really tell you exactly what the Marvels were trying to save, aside from the fact that their three powers had become interconnected somehow, which you do see in the trailer. That is not a spoiler. And so whenever they used their powers, they would sort of switch places because they were interconnected. And so one of the things they were trying to solve was to stop this happening. And then Ms. Marvel was looking for her other bracelet. So if you've watched the Ms. Marvel, she has one bracelet, and we know that there's another one, and she's kind of trying to get that back as well. And so I like that overarching storyline, and then I like the fact that we sort of switched between their various locations until they all came together. I thought that was really interesting, and it's one of the things that I like about a Marvel movie, is that we do get to see different locations. It's not just all in space, or it's not just all on Earth, or it's not just all in America. It's quite nice that we get to go to different locations, and so this movie did that well. But then there were a few scenes where I was just like, what's happening here? People talk about the fact that the villain in this one is underdeveloped, which I definitely agree with, but I feel like the point of the heroes versus the villain, it's not necessarily as straightforward as that, this film. It's, as I say, them kind of completing this quest to untangle themselves, but also learn about themselves in the process, because they are all fairly kind of had this heroic nature thrust upon them in some way or another. It's not like Thor or Captain America or Iron Man, who sort of made themselves the way they are or were born into it. It's the fact that these guys are kind of like, okay, well, I don't really know what made me like this, or I don't really know why I can see this, or I walked through a witch's hex and that's why I'm like this. And so their journey of self-discovery and their journey together as a team to untangle themselves from becoming a team was part of the main point of the film. Whereas we have this villain who's doing something because of something, we're not really sure what, and so you kind of don't really ever kind of wish that the villain wasn't there, or you don't have any sympathy for the villain because you're not really sure kind of why we're doing this. So you're not really rooting against the villain, but you are rooting for the three main superheroes, which I think is a good thing. But then, yes, we have these various different locations that they visit, including sort of Nick Fury's space station, which we see in the very start of the trailer, if you've seen the trailer. But we also visit this planet where they can only speak in the language of song. And there's that whole section of the film is very, very random and kind of almost a little bit cringeworthy, and it's sort of unsatisfying to an extent. I think if that section of the film had meant that the plot was developed or something good happened for our superheroes, I think that I would view it with a little more positivity, but that section of the film was definitely a little bit cringy. And because it was where it was in the film, it made it feel a little bit trippy as well. And then we obviously have Goose, the cat, who, you know, Nick Fury's eye is the way his eye is. And you can see from the posters that Goose plays quite a big role in the film. But then there are other cats. And the scenes with the other cats, whilst very cute and definitely funny, again, felt very trippy and a little bit disjointed. So there were moments of sort of humour, but whilst I laughed at them, they were sometimes misplaced humour. And then there are moments of action where, linking back a little bit to what I said about the creator, I didn't really necessarily care about the outcome of the action because I didn't have any motivation to care about the outcome of the action, and one needs to care in order to enjoy the film. So overall, I did enjoy it. Like, there was no point where I thought, oh, I'm going to leave. There was no point where I was checking my watch thinking, when's it going to end? Because it is a fairly short film. It's the shortest one in the MCU saga. But yeah, I'm not like, I didn't leave feeling that like, whoa, of a Marvel film that I've talked about previously, not having felt that with one of the Marvel films. But like, I definitely felt that after leaving Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Um, and so, yeah, it was just like, it was good. It was fine. Do I think that I should have paid my extra money to go and see it in IMAX? I mean, I want to see these things in, the best way possible. And because it was filmed partly with IMAX cameras, obviously, I want to be able to see what was filmed with the IMAX cameras. But I don't think I necessarily benefited as much seeing this in IMAX as I did, say, seeing Oppenheimer in IMAX. And yeah, should you pay your cinema going money to go and see this one? I think that if you are a Marvel fan, I think that it's worth seeing it on the big screen so that you see the picture and you see the action and you hear the volume. But I think if you're not a Marvel fan, this is not a place to start for you. I think it's not like Guardians of the Galaxy where you could go and watch it and still enjoy it even if you've not kind of invested in the whole MCU saga. And in my opinion, there's not a lot of other good films on at the cinema right now, so it may be your only choice of thing to go and see at the movies right now. But there are some new releases coming very soon that I think would be better use of your cinema going money. So, I mean, we know it won't be long before this one is on Disney Plus, because of the box office numbers. I think as much as anything, I think it will come fairly quickly onto Disney Plus. So this one is maybe unless you really, really want to go and see the cinematography and hear the sound editing and see the visual effects, then I would wait. I would save your cinema going money. It was good. I enjoyed my experience, but it won't be worth the money for everyone. So yeah, let me know in comments if you have seen this one or if you are intending on seeing this one. And as always, if there is a particular movie you would like me to go and watch and share my thoughts on here with you next week, then also let me know in comments, please. I will be back with another movie review for you next week, so make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you with my next one very soon. Thanks for watching.